Kira. Game number 1 on Dreamcatcher. And very, very confusing because Kira actually has a Ryung tag in his name. Hashtag Team Ryung, I guess. Alright, let's do this. Let's start to the top left-hand side. Our blue Terran player here is Ryung. And to the bottom right-hand side, our green Terran player is Kira. Terran vs. Terran, Game 1, best of 3 again. This is the semi-finals of the Kung Fu Cup number 10. As we get this set up and ready to rumble, it is a proxied barracks start from Ryung. Now just a single Rax and then the gas, and it's only going to be a single Rax because there's only one SCV on the map. So a single proxied Reaper into just the kind of very standard build at home perhaps. Perhaps into mech play to continue on from there because, you know, then he's got a barracks across the map. Maybe he's not looking to utilize that in his gameplay. So we'll have a look to see how this goes. We see some SCVs coming on out of this command center and double gas setup right now for Ryung, as we are just going to be having the Rax at home from Kira on its way up as well. So far, very different builds because the proxy barracks from Ryung is over here. Kira is also going to go into a Reaper-based expansion. He only has one gas, so his second gas not taken. Kira going to come down to the low ground and get ready to throw that command center up. So it's going to be dropping down in a moment or two. CC on its way. And there is the proxied factory out of Ryung. So he's actually really going to go for this in the early game. He's going to proxy everything. I guess that is the... I mean, I guess a single proxied Reaper doesn't make too much sense in TvT. It just doesn't really do enough when your opponent's probably making a Reaper anyways. And then to follow up with the proxied factory means that we're probably going to see this barracks used as some sort of add-on. Kind of, I guess, like some sort of add-on machine. Just making a bunch of add-ons. Second Reaper for the moment, though. Sends his Reaper into the line of sight blocker over there. And for now, Kira isn't going to test his luck. No SCV scout, by the way, otherwise Ryung would have kind of been figured out by now. I don't know if the SCV scout matters, because if he SCV scouts, he might assume it's like a proxy Reaper play. That might actually cause an incorrect reaction. And that might be something along the lines of what his opponents were going for. Reaper's going to come down towards the bottom right side, and we are going to see that Reaper of Kira throwing a grenade down. SCV taking some damage, gets picked off pretty quick. Grenade going down, another grenade going down at SCV, continuing to bounce around, trying to delay the CC, but I mean in general it's still kind of the units here for Kira to defend. He gets his CC finish as the Cyclone comes up the ramp, so unable to continue denying this. We are going to be seeing the Cyclone going to be able to start working its way through this supply depot. So depot taking some hits. Reapers are going to be able to kill this. I mean, it's actually not so bad. If the barracks coming in for high ground vision, it's actually working out quite nicely. Starport is built over here as well, so there's going to be a medevac very shortly to help out. Remember, while all of this is, you know, this is great and all, there is still a command center in advantage here from Kira, so he still has that in his favor. As we do see this reactor on the barracks continuing to take some hits right now. Cyclone continuing to work his way through this. When it goes down, and we are going to be seeing now 2 Cyclones ready to keep on going. The orbital has to lift on up once again. Marines pushing this Rax back away. Now the Rax at the front's taking some damage too. He does have the medevac here, so he can relocate things a little bit more easily than before. And he can also save those Cyclones if things get a little bit troublesome. Reaper grenades hitting down, but there is the siege tank. That's pretty much the end of this now. Cyclones low on health have to jump back into that medevac if they're going to survive this here. And now they have to just try and move away. Cloaked Banshee on the way up right now from Ryung, so he is going to be getting this set up. SCVs taking some damage. Marines coming across here from Kira as well. This medevac moving away. Cyclones continue to move around, just trying to be aggressive wherever possible. In general, Ryung only lost his 2 Reapers, but again, you know, he's taken his expansions only just now. He will double expand in position because he's very confident with the control he has on the map. Remember that Ryung has no production back at home, so it's a very weird game in general at the moment as he double expands. His Banshees are now being produced from the middle of the map, and while Cyclones are dropping back into the main, he grabs himself a siege tank there actually. Medevac boost is on cooldown, and that means these Cyclones will die, and he will just get one more kill. No engineering bay just yet. It's just about to finish. So this first Banshee will have to be scanned once it gets cloaked. Missile turret will not quite be ready. Just going to see this Viking moving around. A Cyclone here from Ryung as well. Has some potential. As we are going to be seeing the siege tank on the way out from Kyo as also. Siege tank going in from Kyo. Ryung coming back over to the right side. Banshee actually cloaks up and, well, missile turret is up now. Took a little bit longer for the cloak to finish and the Banshee to move forwards than I thought it would. One SCV and the Banshee gets picked off right away. As we will see the barracks and a factory building at home. So it looks as though he's kind of convinced that these ones aren't making it back home, perhaps. Well, I guess he lost the barracks, right? So he has to rebuild the barracks no matter what to rebuild the factory. Or he was about to lose the barracks, was he? Where's the barracks? Yeah, he lost the barracks. He started to build the barracks knowing he was going to lose that one, his first one. And then he starts up the factory as well, you know, before that barracks died. And then he's just going to go into mech play, I imagine. And extra factories do indeed come down. So there you go, building up cyclones here. And Ryung making his way off and away to game number 1 of this. As we do see, Orbital Command on the natural will be able to start up. Third base, Orbital Command can start up too. At the end of the day, Ryung has come out of this with an extra expansion and a 6-worker lead. Still has Banshees harassing, pinning Kyo back in his base, and you know, from here, Starboard heads home. This factory might want to head home as well. Does he really wants to keep on building things out on the map? Not really. You know, he doesn't have too much to gain from that. And as we do see the couple of extra factories, well, they're going to be finishing up in the main base in just a few moments. So again, his mech play is going to be well underway here shortly. And again, going into mech play for worker lead, an economy, you know, a base lead. This is all fantastic stuff for him. And the issue is, I guess, that he is very spread out in terms of his bases are already set in position, and that's the one negative that maybe Kyo can abuse to get back into this game a little bit, because it definitely feels like he's going to have to try and do something. So, again, this setup, Medivacs coming up to the top side and going to be dropping off in a few moments. Siege tank will unload and siege up as we see a few Marines just unloading as well. Tank going to siege 2. This SCV, well, those going to be in some trouble. I mean, this is annoying, right? And this is the sort of thing that Kyo has to do if he wants to really make his way back into this game. Cyclone will go down. Tank will go down to the Cyclones. And time to get those mules back onto this mineral line. Nicely done by Ryung. That's good. Just a couple of Medivacs pulled away there. And this Banshee from Ryung is on its way back to the top left as well. Third base is just producing some more SCVs. Actually, for some reason, rallied off towards the natural, but really could just do with rallying towards the third base. Now it's fully saturated, this natural expansion. And there's still Cyclones around here to push those Marines and Medivacs back once again. Team Medivac's going to be unloading, this time to the left-hand side. Another tank here too, so again, Ryung does have to pull away from the third base, and we're definitely seeing our Orbital Command, our Blue Terran play in general, just being puffed around a little bit. I mean, again, Kyo has to do this, because he's down a base. He's not looking good right now in terms of, you know, how this is going for himself. He has to get something done. Like, if he just sits back and does nothing, he's going to fall so far behind. But he's killing SCVs, he's pushing command centers away. In fact, he's killed 10 workers just in these last few moments. So this has worked out quite nicely in the end of the day. As we do see the Medivacs are going to come back down to the center. Meanwhile, Marines and a siege tank going to be setting up on the left. There's actually a full Medivac here as well already. So it's actually quite a few units that are going to keep on trying to drop. Ryung very defensive across 2 bases, now has a setup on the natural, has a setup in the main, multiple tanks as well. It's not just, you know, one tank that can be shut down very easily. Ryung is playing this slow, and he isn't afraid to play this slow apparently. So that's that Banshee from earlier in the game, his earlier tech labs. I mean, Kyo had to know they were somewhere on the map, right? He must have had some sort of a feeling that this was not kind of normal. Vikings of Ryung will win out. As we're going to be seeing this Medivac drop comes in towards the main again, though. I mean, tanks already in a decent position, so even if these Marines are able to drop off, this is going to be kind of okay. He actually doesn't quite get that Medivac before the tank on sieges. Oh, unload, sorry. Tank will siege up right now, as we're going to be seeing the tank siege in, and we will see these Marines getting picked away at, and tank will go down. So tank picked off right there. More tanks going to unsiege and move around. But in general, that was a good win for Ryung, I think. He cleans out a lot. Yes, again, some workers are lost. I guess Kyo is getting more in control of this game. 55 to 47 army supply, 1-1 upgrades against nothing currently, although +1 vehicle weapons is about to finish up. It's getting it's getting to that sort of point. You know, it's getting to that point where Q is back in this, I think. I mean, again, you might say, well, of course he is. He's up 12 workers, he's up in army supply. But this is bio versus mech, remember, and Ryung is about to take the third base. I think one of the most important things that Q might have done here is very simply stopping this base from mining, because it stops the refineries from being used. That's a massive deal for mech play. Q has to be careful. Surely he saw these Vikings before. Surely he can't tempt fate again. He's only going to take a couple of shots. Ryung just doesn't quite have his Vikings to the left side. He just needs to reposition them slightly and he'd actually be able to stop these drops coming in as easily. Right now he's going to be in trouble once more. Ryung in this main is really in some threat of taking some hits right here. As again, I mean, he's going to start cleaning this up, but this time he's lost Vikings. This time he's lost a lot more SCVs. And I think this is starting to be one too many times. You know, before Q was definitely playing from a bit behind, and he's definitely being kind of evening up the game. This time, Q is really starting to take a lead, because he was already starting to get into a good position. So now that he was in a good position, we're going to be seeing these tanks. Well, he's going to kill another tank as well, because it's low health, and it's chasing Marines and Marauders. That's never going to end well. Another depot goes down. Ryung is supply blocked on 88 supply against 125. And Q is just like, dude, if you're not going to have any sort of way to defend drops properly, I'm just going to keep on dropping you, because you are not finding a way to deal with this right now. Whatever you're, you know, everything you're doing at the moment is just not working out. Alright, so I'm waiting for these medevacs to come on in, because they are going to be the next little feature in this game. Medevacs coming through the top side. A couple of Vikings to the left, and already a few Vikings firing away. Q taking some hits right there. Loading in the natural expansion. First siege tank already dropping. Marines and Marauders are going to be able to work their way through another couple of tanks here, and tanks again taking a little bit more damage, as we do see the Vikings able to push forwards and get rid of the another couple of medevacs. Marauder goes down as well. Ryung actually this time was a little bit better. This time he actually cleaned this up without taking too much damage, and that's maybe something, you know, Ryung can kind of still look towards as well right now. You know, if he looks at this and he says, "Hi, you know what? Maybe I can just sort of, you know, maybe I can just sort of say like, hey, you know, I should." You know, if Q doesn't stop dropping, I think Ryung can get back into this. But if Q does stop dropping and just macros a little bit and looks for some multi-pronged aggression instead, then I'm a much bigger fan. Alright, well, 2-2 upgrades coming in right now from Q. So he was actually very slow to start 2-2. He had 1-1 a long time ago, remember, before +1 was done for Ryung, and now he has +2 attack. So he really stopped his 2-2 for a long time here. Maybe to, you know, to really kind of build even further into these attacks. Banshee gets core taken down pretty quickly. Command Center will finish up. It starts to morph in towards a planetary fortress. Extra barracks being built up in the main base here, so Q is still getting set up into this sort of position where he's going to have more units to, you know, throw away. He's going to have the production to keep on reproducing these units. But it is getting to that stage where, again, this mech army is starting to get scary. The mech army is starting to be able to take some good fights. So it's getting to that sort of more awkward moment as we do see tanks, Hellbats, and medevacs off to the left at the moment. Marines and Marauders pushing in, and they're going to be able to start targeting down this barracks right here, so a little bit of damage done. 5 Cyclones currently being made. It's actually kind of funny that we're seeing Cyclones being introduced into late game mech play so often nowadays. A lot of players are kind of, you know, coming back into that every now and then, and it's kind of intriguing, you know. They kind of produce an interesting role as those upgrades improve. They're actually quite good at skirmishing, and if you have a lot of gas, they can be a good way to kind of keep a fairly mobile army fighting. This army to the right hand side is still something Ryung is aware of and has been for a little while. Again, the game has definitely calmed down a bit. Kira throws down 2 starports. Looks like he wants to make this air switch now, going into the fusion core with it so he can get the Liberator range. I feel if he's going for this air switch though, this is going to be a bit of a problem, because right now he's going to start losing units. Obviously not a great time to start trying to switch in towards air-based units if you're just losing your ground army, which you're going to have to try and survive with in the next upcoming moments. No upgrades that would help Ryung in the air, which is usually an advantage which the meching player would have, even if it's just the vehicle playing. In this case, Q is going to have +1 ship weapons to work with here, and he gets himself a full medevac say full medevacs. 2 Hellbats inside these medevacs at the moment, and going to lose another, but it actually allows Ryung to get the upper hand in the Viking shots on the Vikings. And that actually is very important, because suddenly Ryung, who was actually a little bit behind in Viking count, has evened that up. And that maybe gives him the potential to keep control of the sky, and as he sees that many Vikings, he might realize the contesting of the air is going to be a thing in this, and so realizes that maybe he should do something about it. Then again, he has the Cyclones, and that's where the Cyclones come into play as well. They're good anti-air units, and they can shut down Liberators if they siege up and they become a bit of an issue right here. You can see the couple of tanks here getting rid of that sensor tower. A couple of tanks from a distance here. Kure starting to get cleaned out, so Kure losing a couple more siege tanks, and again, Ryung back in towards the middle of the map is going to start pushing in towards these rocks, cleaning those out, keeping this going. So the rocks goes down, another couple of siege tank shells hitting quite nicely here. Well, that's still in those medevacs, and again, another shot doing a good job. Final set of upgrades here from Kure. Trying to come on all along. I mean, Kure's suddenly being pinned into his base, and as the bio player, that's not good. This is the moment where he should have, like, 2 medevacs on the map. Stim into this third base, goddammit. In fact, Ryung doesn't have a 4th. It's absolutely insane at this stage of the game. He is completely all in on these 3 bases. Here we go. I mean, the bio's going to fight in, but the tank's now sieged. I mean, the Cyclones just lock onto those Liberators in the sky, and, well, even if the Vikings win out against the other Vikings, the Cyclones show up and they start to do a lot more damage as well. That rapid fire launcher upgrade makes them so good at anti-air, and again, Ryung with the 3 base all in, 17 minutes in game. He had no intention of taking the 4th base behind this, and he didn't need to. And again, that's why maybe you counterattack, you have a couple of medevacs units, and you can afford to buy more time and sit back. You don't have to stim into that fight necessarily. Or you're in this position now where Ryung isn't able to keep on reproducing, and you just slowly pick away at your opponent. There's so many situations where that double drop just does so much for you here, but right now, obviously, it's just not there. And I really think it's one of the key things of playing bio. You just have to have presence on the map at all times, because right here, Ryung was able to push with every single unit bar 1 siege tank, and that was it. Like, he left 1 siege tank at home. There is no defense there apart from reinforcements. Cyclone's backing away, and Kure is maybe going to survive for, again, another couple of moments, but really not much more than that, it seems, as these tanks continue to fire. And again, that orbital command is burning on down. More tanks taking some hits. Cyclones working their way through this base as well. I mean, again, we're watching the death woes of Kure right here. He doesn't really have a way to play this, because what does he do? Try and push down the ramp into tanks? Well, yes, you maybe use the Liberators to push the tanks back, but with missile turrets coming up, Vikings in the sky, Cyclones to aid against the Liberators as well, it just doesn't happen. The lock-ons come into play, and yeah, they actually take some of the hits with the Cyclones. Actually, maybe wasn't super pretty, but again, it's good enough. Cyclones coming back in from the left, and eventually it gets the job done as the Liberators go down. Kure is all out of options, and he knows it. GG. Takes game number 1. Ryung takes game number 1, sorry. Not just takes game number 1, actually have to put a now support. 5 more, we hit 250. That'd be a party. Back to 250, on the road back to 300. On the road again. Awesome stuff, guys. Again, I really do appreciate it all. As we do start to the upper right hand side, our blue Terran player is Ryung. He is up a game in this best of 3, of course, game number 2. Going up against the red Terran player to the bottom left hand side, Kure from Jin Green Wings. See what he can bring up as well. Yeah, we're currently casting some of the replays from today's Kung Fu Cup. We cast the event live, but these are some of the matches that happened off stream. So just going through a few of these, because we do have another live tournament in 1 hour's time. So in 1 hour we go live with the WardiTV Are You Ready for Summer qualifier number 2. And with that second qualifier going live, obviously the games will be live as well. But for right now, we're just casting some replays. And this is game number 2 of Ryung. This is actually the last series we have from the Kung Fu Cup earlier. We might find another series to cast as well in the meantime, just to fill the time. Depends how long this one goes. I mean, if this goes 20 to 30 minutes more, which is possible, then probably not. But if it goes like 5 minutes more, which is also possible, it's TvT after all, then maybe we do kind of do another series. We'll judge it based on how things are going. We're just taking things as they come today, figuring it out as we move on. Well, you guys are probably bored of watching Kyo's base. We'll go watch Ryung's base as well, where the exact same is happening. Second gas only has one worker in it though, and that's the exact same as Kyo, although he's actually only on 2 workers on one of the gases as well, so looks like they're saving up money, saving up minerals to get an expansion down in the near future, but they both wanted to get the double gas to be able to afford the factory nice and quickly. Ryung will go straight into Cyclone here, I think. No reason not to. He has the gas for it, and second Reaper on the way up. Kyo doesn't quite have the gas. He'll go Hellion and maybe a Starport. Now on 4 workers in gas. Will definitely expand, but we'll see where he goes post Hellion. Maybe it will be the Cyclone actually. By the time the Hellion finishes, he gets the minerals back up. Maybe he can just afford the Cyclone and then he goes from there. Very small difference. Hellion allows you to kind of take a little bit of map control a little bit faster. With the Cyclone coming out, it's just more sturdy. So once the Cyclone is out on the map, it's pretty much not going to be killed by anything other than a Cyclone. So at least for the early minutes of the game in TvT. Expansion on the way from both players. So again, interestingly, both went double gas factory, but then again, slowing down their gas income to be able to afford the expansion pretty quickly anyways. This is cheeky. These 2 Reapers are going to sneak by these 2 Reapers in the Hellion, and Ryung's going to get a delay on the command center. It's only going to be a small one, but it's an SCV kill as well, remember, as he hops up into the main base. It's probably a second SCV kill going down too, and that's going to be nicely done. 2 workers picked off right here as we see another grenade dropping, and we are going to see another Reaper picked off right now. Barracks finishes up on the reactor. Starport going to be finishing up in a moment or 2 as well. 2 Reapers and a Hellion going to go continue across the map. Medevac here from Kyo means he'll get aggressive with his couple of Cyclones in the very near future. Meanwhile, an orbital command from Ryung obviously morphs in on the low ground a little bit further along just because of the fact Kyo's was delayed by that Reaper play. Now Ryung doesn't have his Reapers to defend with, which is a slight annoyance if nothing else. I don't think it's really a massive deal. Obviously the Reaper grenades can be very frustrating and they can bounce, the Cyclone back, but with the bunker here, Marines get in their bunker and it's just the safety, the security that's enough to really turn this away. There's not really a commitment here from Kyo that makes enough sense to continue on forward. So Raven on the way up from Ryung in the main base as well. And we are going to be seeing the Medevac, 2 Marines and a Cyclone all coming up towards the upper right hand side. Refineries are dropping down still from Ryung as well. Still getting those set up and going. Engineering bay from Kyo behind this mineral line. We're going to be seeing the factory. Getting a Cyclone here. Viking getting it up as well. Into the main base. This Medevac of Kyo are going to be faking the drop to try and pull units out of position. And, well, it's kind of working. It is kind of working. Kyo looking as though he wants to commit onto this bunker with the units here in the end. Still, though, I mean, there's a tank, there's a bunker. Bunker may go down, sure, but the tank is still going to stand strong for the moment. And again, right now that Medevac is empty, so it's not actually doing anything other than trying to pull too many units out of position. Reaper grenades going down, Marines gonna go down as well. SCVs will repair the siege tank to try and keep it alive. Doesn't quite happen. I mean, it's a good push forwards. In the end, he gets a lot of damage done, and SCVs are going to start dropping as well. Ryung actually losing quite a few workers here, down by 8. Cyclones lock onto the Raven. He really doesn't want to lose that Ryung, so he does manage to pull it away in time. He is able to keep it alive. That would be a disaster if his Raven went down. That's the last thing he wants to have happen here. Medevac coming through the top side of the map, looping around. Meanwhile, a couple of Cyclones just sat at the front with a few Marines, the Viking as well. And the Hellion of Ryung also just sat out front. Engineering bay dropping down in the natural. Yeah, getting ready for the next stage of this game. A couple more barracks. Ryung, though, is still just producing off of the 1-1-1. A couple of Liberators coming through. He has a very aggressive army here, I feel like, with the Raven building up energy, a couple of tanks. If he can get into position, he could do a lot. He's going to lose one of the siege tanks, unfortunately, but it's just the price he pays sometimes. That Raven pulls away. Meanwhile, Liberator, yeah, in the main base, that's actually getting a few kills, and SCVs are not quite in position to be completely safe there. A little bit of damage dealt. Ryung is down now 12 workers, and Kyo looking pretty good right now in this game number 2, looking to tie the series up. As you're going to be seeing Interference Matrix on the Medevac pushing forwards now. He's going to look to try and clean this out. Siege Tank will get into action as well. Looks as though that is going to be a cleanup here. Ryung lost the Raven though. He is ahead on army supply. He's cleaned up a lot because Q has consistently brought units across the map. He's now going to have, well, he's already got a Banshee across here, which has been picking off a lot of units. He's about to have 2 Liberators coming into position to kind of, well, complicate things as well. So he's going to shut down some of this mining also. There are 2 Liberators, 1 Viking is of course not quite enough. So he's denied mining. And here we go, Ryung coming across the map. He's already brought it back down to a 4 worker difference, make that a 1 worker difference. And Ryung still has the army supply. With 2 tanks pushing across here, a couple of Vikings. There's some real potential. Liberators actually unsieged and they are pulling back. I guess the idea is if you can get away with these Liberators, they can help push the front now. So those Liberators pulling back towards the main army. And a couple of SCVs continue to repair things here. As we are going to be seeing Libs, Vikings, tanks and a Cyclone going to be pushing in towards the natural expansion any second now. 1 tank sieges, 2nd tank sieges. The Liberators are going to be sieging up as well, and that's obviously going to be a tank which is going to go down very quickly. Can't be saved, just didn't unsiege fast enough. 2 Vikings versus 1, so the air control is in favour of Ryung 2, and he's starting to whale away at that natural orbital. SCV is in range as well, another tank sieges, and this isn't looking good. Vikings are going to have to try and do something about these Liberators which are sieging up, but there's just too many Vikings in the sky from Ryung, I think. Ryung will win the air war. The SCVs pull in, but, well, they're going to go down over time as well, obviously, as we are going to be seeing. Actually, not much to kill those SCVs. Eventually, the Cyclone and the Marine get around to it, but took a little while, and Cure down at 38 supply. This turned so badly for him so quickly. He went up to the 3 bases. He was just trying to expand and build into bio, but Ryung went for the more aggressive approach. He kept building units. He went into bio much later on. He really just sort of took a couple of good fights in terms of army, and he took it from there. And it looks as though we will see these tanks able to, well, now they shut down stim packs, so even though that stim pack was earlier, now it will be later, but I don't think that's really going to become an issue in the game. Marines are not going to even get the Liberators because the tanks are in range, and this is just one of those situations where everything is just out of control, and Ryung is able to take game at number 2 of the best.